This is my canvas. This is a 11 by 14 canvas, stretched canvas. But you're welcome to use any canvas you want. It's already been primed. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this spray bottle that's just got regular water in it, and I'm going to very lightly mist this canvas. What we're doing is we're painting with acrylic. Acrylic paint tends to dry very fast. So we want to, in order to slow down the drying of the acrylic paint, we're going to mist it, and then what I've done next is I have mixed a white paint with some retarder in it. And what retarder is it slows down the drying time of the acrylic paint. So if you're not sure what kind of paint or retarder to get, I would go to your local arts and your art store and ask. They might have some good recommendations, and it might depend on what paints you already have. So yes, that's what you want to kind of do if you're not sure. So I'm going to get some of this. This is a larger paintbrush because we just want to pretty much cover the entire canvas with this. And right now we're just painting the entire canvas. You just want to get some on your entire canvas. Doesn't really matter the direction you're going. You want to kind of just get it into the grooves. So while this is still wet, just want to show you, I got some ultramarine blue, some naphthol crimson, and some titanium white, and I also put some retarder right directly on my palette. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of this ultramarine blue, and I'm going to mix it right here. Just get a little of the retarder and just start mixing it a little bit right here. And I'm going to just start dabbing it in some spots. Over here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a dry brush, and mine is slightly wet, but you're just going to try to soften it up by barely touching it and just kind of working little circles here. And you kind of have to wipe off some of the paint as you do this. You want to wipe your brush as you do this. So next what I'm going to do is I got some more ultramarine blue, and I'm going to blend a little of that red in there. I want to get a purple. I'm going to add just a bit of white in there. Maybe a little bit more. Lighten it up. and get some of that retarder again, add it in there, and just start dabbing again. Add some blues again in here. I have some leftover blue. I'm gonna even add a little of that white to the red to get like a, almost like a light pink, and just, actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to rinse my brush first because I have some of that blue on there. And now I'm going to mix the red with the white and some of that retarder, and then I'm going to rinse that brush, come back with my dry brush, and start softening up that. Now, if you get some of the brush strokes, when you go back and forth like this, you can kind of see the brush strokes here. To kind of get rid of that, you can just kind of dab at it. Now, sometimes you kind of have to take a step back and look at your painting and just look at what parts are a little still too strong, and just kind of blend them out. So I got a little black, and I got some more blue and red paint over here on my paper palette. And so I really want to just darken up these corners here, so I'm just going to add a touch of that black to the blue. And even get a little retarder here. And just kind of get the corners here. I went and grabbed this softer brush, and I'm just going to very lightly kind of just massage, very, very lightly touch the paint. This brush is dry right now, so it's actually working perfectly, just very lightly blending in the darkness there. So I'm just mixing the red with the blue to get more purple again. And I'm probably going to add a little white to that, and the retarder. Get a few spots in there again, wipe off my brush. just soften it up again. Just in a couple spots here, just adding some blue. And even just mixing it a little bit with the purple. Then I'm just wiping my brush, just softening it up. And I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna get some of the, I'm gonna mix some of the blue with the black. And then I'm gonna grab it, just a little bit of that red. Let's see. Some retarder. And I'm just gonna make some mountains here. And that's a little bit dark. I'm gonna add some white to that. And a little more red. It's almost like a purple gray right now. And that really lightened it up. And then I'm just going to get my soft brush again and just kind of soften that up a little bit. Go back and get a little more purple and just even dab a little white in there. And basically I'm trying to transition to almost a white here. Straighten out here, you know, your mountains are kind of going up this way and then it kind of plateaus over here. And so we'll just soften that up a bit. So now I just want to come back here with some of that darkness again and just create a little depth here. And I might want to actually switch over as I get farther away. I think I'm going to switch to even maybe a smaller brush. Maybe just dab in a couple like spots of like the blue, maybe a little of the lighter purple, red. Don't soften everything. It's kind of good to have some definition in parts of it. Grab a little of the white with some of the retarder in it and just very lightly, because I want the sun kind of coming up from the back, and just gonna touch some of the mountains on this side here. Just to soften it up a little bit. Now I'm grabbing more white with no retarder in it. It's just straight white. And I'm just gonna try to touch these parts of the mountain to show that the light is hitting there. I almost want to create a little more depth over here, so I'm going to grab some of the black and just work that back in a few spots. Now, because it's still wet, there's a little reflection. The sunlight is creating some reflection, so it's hard to see the color there, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. And so you'll have to take that into consideration while you're painting, that if there is a lot of sunlight coming in right now, it's gonna create a lot of reflection on the parts that are still wet. I'm gonna make more purple here. I'm gonna grab a touch of that black, and I'm just going to Oh, and grab a little bit of the retarder, add that in too. And just create an edge here. Grab a little white. The retarder with the white paint in the background has dried, so as you can tell here, it's not mixing as well, so I also want to get just a tiny bit of that retarder on my brush here and just work that in. And grab some of the retarder in the white and just put that in over here. Soften that up a little bit. Get the peaks to show a little bit. And this one is going to be slightly darker than this because it's in the foreground. So when it's closer to you, it's going to be a little bit darker. And just work that in at the bottom there. Soften that up a little bit. And you see it's already drying up here, but now I feel like this is a little too different from this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of the colors that I have in here and just add it to here. I'm going to add just a few peaks here. And these are going to be a little harder to see because the light's coming from the back. And just work in a little light. And again, I'm just going to soften just only a few spots.